Hi everyone, Abby here. Just wanted to quick introduce our new bonus episode mini-series, Connections, which will feature the Tri-Society CEO Jim Cudahy as host. These will be posted monthly starting now, so be sure to let us know what you think. Enjoy!
Hello, and welcome to Connections, a new podcast that falls generally under the banner of our Field Lab Earth podcast series. The purpose of Connections is to showcase different elements from within our three societies, the American Society of Agronomy, the Crop Science Society of America, and the Soil Science Society of America. We want to inform you about what's going on and encourage you to engage with the societies. If we can teach you something about our scientific disciplines along the way that we collectively represent or even have some fun, that will be bonus. My name is Jim Cudahy. I am CEO of the Tri-Societies. And today, I'm joined by three presidents of our societies. Aaron Daigh, who is the 2026 president of SSSA, Felix Fritschi, who is the president of CSSA for 2026, and Wade Thomason, who holds that same role as president of the American Society of Agronomy in 2026. I'll let each of them introduce themselves. So we'll begin with you, Aaron. Tell us where you work and what you do.
Thank you, Jim. So I'm Aaron Daigh. I'm an associate professor of Vadal Zone Science at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I perform research and teach courses on the unsaturated portion of the ground. And I take that particularly from a soil physics and hydrology perspective. So essentially, if it moves between the soil surface and an underlying aquifer, I tend to find it interesting.
Great. Felix, what do you find interesting? What do you do?
Well, Jim, I'm a professor of crop physiology in the Division of Plant Science and Technology at the University of Missouri. I have a research and teaching appointment, so I really enjoy teaching. I have a 40% teaching appointment, mostly teaching undergraduate students, also graduate courses to some extent in the area of grain crop production and crop physiology. My research is really about better understanding how physiological mechanisms work when plants try to adjust and adapt to different environmental conditions. And we're trying to leverage that understanding to improve crop resilience to abiotic stress.
Great. All right, Wade, and let's finish up with you. What do you do as your day job?
Sure. So I'm a professor and the head of the Department of Plant and Soil Sciences at Oklahoma State University in the Division of Ag and Natural Resources. My role is really a blend of team and business management, strategic leadership, and technical oversight for the department.
Great. All right, we're going to start the next question off, and we're going to come to you, Wade, first, so a bit of warning. But each of you quite obviously works for an academic institution, a land-grant university. But what do you see as the overarching challenges facing the corresponding disciplines of agronomy, crop science, and soil science right now? And if think about what the challenges that your university faces at the same time.
Yeah, so when I think about our major challenges out there, I think about climate resilience. I think about water management and drought. And then I also think about digital agriculture and data science as an emerging field and how we incorporate those things into solving the problems where we've historically worked on these natural systems.
Right. All right, let's go to you, Felix. What do you see as the prevailing challenges facing the discipline, and how might that apply at the University of Missouri?
Yeah, I think I agree with Wade. In essence, I think the current environmental conditions and what our plants will face in the future is really a big challenge for us as researchers, but also for the population in general. Our crops are experiencing diverse environments. They're experiencing different stresses over the course of growth and development, whether that's abiotic stress, whether that's biotic stress, and of course, combinations of stress. And I think we have to produce our crops in a sustainable manner, both environmentally sustainable, economically sustainable. And that, to me, is really the great challenge for not just crop science. I think all three of our societies and memberships disciplines. And I think we're ideally positioned within our societies to solve those problems. At the University of Missouri, I think it's always an issue is funding. I don't think that's specific to us, but funding for graduate students and research in the areas that we think are so critical.
Okay. All right. And how about you, Aaron?
So for soil science, it echoes a number of things that Wade and Felix mentioned there. From a viewpoint of society at large across the globe, thinking about some of the major issues, obviously with crop production, as was mentioned, but then also soil degradation, desertification, contamination, of all sorts of emerging issues, as well as many legacy issues that we still deal with today that we've lived with for generations too. And you find these throughout many communities in the world, both rural settings as well as in urban settings too. And so the continuous challenge of how to approach soils, soil management, and the context of how a society lives in that area is always a continuous pursuit in soil science. Now, while soil science is getting noticed more these days, you think about the impressive surge in the recognition of soil health and where it's being recognized in many different sectors, as well as occasionally you start to see more and more even mention of soil science in Hollywood movies, like one of the Jurassic Park movies here recently. There's still a lot of significant changes, and some of those is workforce development and building up our soil science programs, which at the university level has largely been either stationary or even declining in their capacity over the last number of years, with positions not being filled, but yet a growing demand for the soil science expertise that comes out of it. As it was also mentioned, the scientific funding and the challenge of diversifying our funding routes so that we can have continuously new discoveries in both the applied as well as the fundamental side of soils.
Great. Thank you. Felix, you had just mentioned a moment ago about you feeling that the societies were in a good position to work on some of the challenges that you were talking about. CSSA, as well as ASA and SSSA, are each in the third year of 5-year strategic plans. Felix, can you give us a sense of what general priorities and initiatives that you see as being vital to the implementation of those plans, particularly those that we might be looking at tackling in 2026?
Yeah, CSSA has developed a strategic plan that has 6 objectives, and I don't want to talk about all of them here, but I want to highlight one of them. One of the objectives is that we want to make our journals and meetings the first place that people want to go and share their research. And so I think we had just an exciting meeting in Salt Lake City not long ago. We're doing, I think, quite well on that front. We have great editorial boards for our journals, editorial board members that are very engaged and trying to find ways to improve our journals. But I think we also have a long way to go to make those journals the first place that people want to go to publish their research. Our journals are so absolutely critical for our societies, for our members. So I think we need to make sure the authors have the best possible experience when they try to, or not try, when they do submit papers, manuscripts to our journals. And so I think one of the things that the editorial boards and the staff has been doing is establishing programs that hopefully help us move forward with the journals. And there's opportunities to volunteer as a reviewer. You can also volunteer as an editorial board member. And I think we need to push these opportunities, make sure all of our members are aware of those opportunities, especially also the early career members. And we also, on our website, you can go volunteer as a reviewer, as a volunteer. But we also have a program that you can apply for that is a mentorship program for reviewing papers. So I think this year we really need to make a point, if we want to achieve our objective when it comes to the journals, to get everybody involved, as many people involved, not just in submitting papers, but also helping us review the manuscript fairly with constructive comments to make our journals the best they can be.
Great. It's often said that our three societies are siblings, but they're not triplets. So, Aaron, next to you, what in particular do you think SSSA will be focusing on with regard to its strategic objectives?
Yeah, so we've got a number of strategic objectives too. And one of them that I'm particularly excited about this year is engaging our membership, which I think will end up spurring into many different aspects that will help bring along our other strategic objectives as well. So we want to keep the momentum that we've really gained over the last few years and the achievements from those, but particularly I want to see folks lean boldly into the area that we still want to accomplish by mobilizing our membership. And I can think that this can happen through like empowering. We have dozens and dozens of committees in our membership, and by empowering them and our divisions to act boldly and creatively through grassroots efforts, by using the resources available through our society, our network, our connections, programs, the staffing, and getting our community's work out there and more widely known by increasing our engagement with other societies and other sectors. I think these efforts can lead to us enhancing our, not only our objective to enhance our engagement with our members, but then also to increase and diversify our membership, leads to more pathways for workforce development, and really ensures that we're positioned to be responsive to emerging issues as they come along.
Great. Thank you. And then your turn, Wade. What are some priorities or strategic objectives that you see as being particularly vital for ASA in 2026?
Well, like the other societies, we have a long list of things that are our interest and our concern. But for me specifically, and I think about what we need to do in the next year or so, I really think about two things. One is policy and advocacy, and the other is public engagement and education. So we need to increase the outreach and communicate the value of agronomy and soil sciences to the public, but we also really need to strengthen engagement with our policymakers to influence science-based decisions for ag and natural resources. And so I think, that's going to be an effort, an ongoing effort, but one that certainly we in A are going to focus on in the upcoming year. I don't think any of us have lived through a time that is as unique as it has been for the last few years and probably will continue to be. And so I feel it's really important for us to continue to engage and have a voice and an opportunity to have some influence in those areas.
Great. All right. And each of you, one way or another, kind of hit on that general idea of engagement with our societies, either as members or otherwise as stakeholders. We're going to begin with you this time, Aaron. Can you think of a particular program or service that you think is underutilized by society members, whether that's students, faculty, folks that work for government or otherwise? What's something that you think people should be getting more use out of?
That's a hard question there to narrow it down to one, because there's so many opportunities that come through the society. You talk to us that have been members for a while. I've been a member for 20 years now, and it's hard to think of what professionally life would look like without the society, because so much has came out of it. There's so many utilities and programs that can really enhance someone's career and personal enjoyment in life. And so, but I think the one thing that I'll just kind of point out as the ultimate value, and therefore continuously underutilized probably too, is that it's the resource of community. We have thousands of members who have a tremendous breadth and extraordinary depth in our field. And a member can really lean on this community pretty much endlessly and still continue to find opportunities and benefits professionally and personally. So engaging with the society is really its ultimate value through that community. And therefore, I also think it's perpetually the most underutilized one because it's so powerful.
Yeah, you often hear people talk about the societies being their professional home. I really think that it sort of echoes through what you were just saying. But Wade, you're next. What do you see as a particular program or service that you think is underutilized by the members or the stakeholders within American Society of Agronomy?
As I thought through this, what I might answer that, the way I might answer that question, I really thought it's probably our career development resources. So mentoring programs, leadership training, certification opportunities, lots of things that can help your career trajectory over time that I don't know, at least I as a member probably haven't done as good a job as engaging those things as I should have. And so hopefully, we can encourage new members, young members, and even those who are a little later in their 30 plus years in their membership, I think still have some opportunities to engage and continue to continue the professional development side of what we do.
Great, thank you. All right, and finally, Felix, what's a program or service that you think is underutilized by the members of CSSA?
Well, I think we're all kind of hitting on a very similar theme, right? And as you mentioned, I really feel like the societies are my professional home. And I think hopefully we can get every member to think like that for the societies to be their professional home. And I think I would want to put it generically. I think underutilized are all the opportunities that we have for volunteering. Right, whether that's volunteering as a division chair, whether that's volunteering on the board, board member, or reviewer, or science policy. I think there's opportunities for everybody to engage with their talents and find the right niche for them to engage with our societies. And so I think it's upon us to make sure all our members are well aware of all the opportunities to engage, because just like Aaron and Wade said, I think there's a lot of professional advantages that can be derived from engaging, as well as personal satisfaction to contribute to our societies.
Great. All right, well, let me get you out of here on this. One last question for each of you, and Wade, you get to be the leadoff hitter this time. But what's one particular thing that you want to see your society, and ASA in your case, Wade, accomplish this year on behalf of members and or in consideration of the challenges facing our scientific disciplines?
Well, that's this is one of those, do I have to, are we going to get graded on this at the end of the year?
Of course.
Well, so I guess I'll answer that by saying you've known me long enough now, Jim, to know that I'm not really great at following rules. So I'd like to talk about two things.
Okay.
The first is I'm really excited about our workforce development issues. It's been brought up before, but I really think that having the societies as sort of the key lead, this point of the spear on that, I think is a really good approach to that, because then that'll allow us with people like me in my roles to use those materials and those strategies in our marketing. So I can share that with our folks here at the university and reach out to potential students from across the divide. So I think, I'd really like to see the rollout of that and start taking advantage of that before the end of the year. The other thing that I wanted to hit on is I feel strongly that there is a strong commitment to diversity and inclusion within the societies, but I want that to continue to be a focus of ours in 2026. And we've all been a part of collaborations and teams that have benefited from people with different experiences, different backgrounds, different approaches. And I think our societies benefit just like that. And so everything we can do to make sure that the tent is big enough, the umbrella is big enough to include a diverse group of folks who are interested and passionate about the same things that the rest of us are.
Great. Thank you. All right, Felix, no rhyme or reason to the order, but you're up next. One particular thing that you want to see CSSA accomplish this year, either on behalf of the members or in consideration of the challenges that crop science faces right now?
Well, can I break the rules too?
You bet.
Actually, I really want to use this opportunity to thank ASA, the Agronomy Society of America, and their ASA reinvestment program. I think that's a tremendous contribution that all of our societies will benefit from. And workforce development is one of those aspects. So I really like that, and I appreciate that very much. I think in terms of, our objectives, we have so many objectives, and I want to go back to really pushing hard on trying to move our journals forward. We can't do everything all at once. And so I think moving our journals forward is important for the financial health. It's important for the professional credibility of our members. And so I really want to make sure we keep pushing on that and don't fall behind with our journals. And I think the way to do that is by, again, engaging volunteers, right? Engaging our members and just keep the journals at the forefront of their minds, as well as, making sure we do the outreach, the promotion of our journals through different avenues. To make sure we have a healthy financial as well as professional record for our societies.
Great, thank you. And Aaron, you get the final word here. So, what's one thing in particular that you want to see SSSA accomplish this year on behalf of the members, or in consideration of the challenges that we face together?
Well, I'm not gonna give one. I'm gonna give two as well, just like the others here. So, two things that I particularly am excited to see and want to see this year is kind of at two different ends of things. One, the Soils Board recently initiated a new task force that's named after the theme from our last Canvas meeting in Salt Lake City. It's 40 years into the future, and it's really looking at how are we structured and how are we set up to really be able to enhance the opportunities for the next generation of soil scientists and be ready to engage with any kind of emerging issue as it pops up. And really make sure that we're positioned well, thinking that multi-decade into the future. So that's one thing at the board level that we're really excited about, and seeing what the task force comes up with, creativity and idea-wise. But then also I'll go back to empowering our committees and facilitating grassroots efforts, kind of along the lines of how Felix was mentioning the volunteers in our societies. We have thousands of members, and helping bolster that in grassroots efforts, I think, is really great. And something I want to be able to lean on and do, because the depth and the broad set of perspectives in soils means that we have an overwhelming supply of creativity and innovative thinking among our community. So bolstering the fruits of that is what I hope to see this year. And I think it'll be essential for meeting our disciplines and society's key issues, kind of bringing from both perspectives up at the board working, but then also grassroots efforts working.
Great. All right. Well, on that note, I'll be remiss as Aaron talked about the theme of the 40 years in the future from Canvas 25 that we held in Salt Lake City. You might also know the three gentlemen. I should have mentioned this at the outset, as Marty McFly, Biff Tannen, and Doc Brown, accordingly. That we had a lot of fun in Salt Lake City, and I think there's going to be opportunity for us to embed some more of that fun in Canvas 26 in Portland. But otherwise, throughout the year, we get all the things that we talked about today in terms of priorities and for the different societies, I think can be accompanied by new ways to engage our members and stakeholders in ways that hopefully can be a little bit of fun, including this podcast for what it's worth. So let me thank Aaron, Wade, and Felix for joining me today. Thanks to listeners out there. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to this Connections podcast. We'll try to do this on a monthly basis. So look for our next podcast next month, which will be February. But for now, we'll sign off and hope everybody has a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to Field Lab Earth. More information can be found in the description below. Thank you!